We provide information about sports betting for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm gambling regulations in your state of residence. To participate in sports gaming, you must be 21 years of age or older and be physically present in a state where sports betting is legal. If you or someone you know has a sports betting or gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org for more information and further assistance.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Spread Zone. My name is Scott Rizzuto. There's Tim McKernan. And to his right, sitting in for Anthony Stalter, is Action Jackson.
Yeah, we brought him in, Riz, because this guy is a basketball expert.
Watch a lot of ball, Riz.
Well, we are going to talk NCAA, college men's basketball. We're in it, guys.
This is our time. This is Jackson's
This is our time.
I don't know who he's got in a Final Four, and I am really intrigued to hear who he's going with here.
Well, so the goal of this podcast today is to help you fill out your brackets and make, we'll say, sharp first-round bets.
Yeah.
Okay, sharp first-round bets. So where do we start here? I think we should set the stage for the tournament. What's the one thing, and I ask both of you guys, what's the one thing recreational bettors need to know about betting round one games? I mean, it's impossible to watch every college game all season long. So now you're dealing with teams that you may not know a lot about.
10 seeds getting points against 7 seeds are covering over the last decade at a rate that makes it profitable for you to just fire a bet across the board on the 10 seeds blindly and take the points. That's what I would tell you.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
I actually like 3 out of the 4 10 seeds to win outright.
How about that?
Yeah.
3 out of the 4 10 seeds this year to win
outright. Yep.
outright.
Straight up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's going to be the theme of today for me, is a lot more straight up, a lot less spread, a lot more money line.
This guy's a money line guy. He's going to get us some money on some odds.
Here's the thing. If you like a team to cover 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, you probably like them enough to win. So why not just take a little bit more money? And not to mention with late game free throws, your 3.5 might be in real trouble if your team is in that position. So I say bet them outright.
All right.
Well, in this podcast, we'll talk upsets. We'll talk who you got going through the entire tournament. Maybe that's where we should start. Should we start with who do you have to win the entire tournament? And maybe we'll start with the who do you have going through to the Final Four? So we'll start with Jackson. Give me your first Final Four team.
Florida.
Yeah.
Didn't even hesitate on that one.
They have the most athletic front court in all of college basketball. When one of their giant 6'10" to 7-footers comes off the floor, they replace him with what seems like 2. You match that up with Walter Clayton, who's an all-SEC point guard, outstanding player, couple of sharpshooters, and not to mention they're playing better than anybody in the country right now. Yeah, Florida Gators for sure.
See, my thing with starting with the Final Four is let's work. If you're filling out your bracket, you work backwards. Like, who do you have as a champ?
Yep.
Who do you have your Final Four? And then you go work backwards from there onto round one. All right. So, Tim, who's your first Final Four?
I will go with Houston.
Houston.
My
first Final Four is Florida as well. Your second Final Four is?
Auburn.
Yeah,
they're loaded.
It's all SEC all the time.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to be thinking Auburn's lost 3 out of 4. I think this week off getting healthy is going to do really well for them. They have played dominant. I mean, like more quad 1 wins than any team in history, I believe. Like, they are on a crazy pace. They're totally loaded. They're mature. A lot of their guys are in their mid-20s, and that's a real thing when it comes to the NCAA tournament.
Tim.
In that same region, I'm going with Michigan State and Tommy Izzo. What do you think about that, Jackson?
That's going to, if it is Auburn and Michigan State in that Elite Eight game, that's going to be fireworks. That's going to be fireworks. I love it. I have them in my Elite Eight. So
coming out of the South, it's Michigan State for me as well.
Oh, wow. Welcome to the club. Nice.
So for me, it's Florida, Michigan State. All right. Next up for Action Jackson.
Keeping in theme here, I think there's a reason. Alabama.
This guy's all SEC all the time, Riz. I'm telling you, he's all SEC all the time.
Can I tell you guys something?
Is it in the Elite Eight? Do you have Alabama Duke?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I sure do. Honestly, if you're making a long shot bet for a winner and you're not the winner of the tournament, your long shot bet isn't Florida, Auburn, Houston, or Duke, you're lighting your money on fire. Only those 5 teams, I think, can win this tournament.
Wow.
Yeah. Of the certain metrics.
Hold on. What are they again?
Duke, Alabama,
Auburn,
and
Florida
and Houston.
Okay.
The 4-1 seeds in Alabama.
And
If you're betting anyone else, I think.
So I can get the field.
And I'll take those 5.
And you'll take those 5.
Yeah. For the winner.
All right, coming out of your East.
What kind of odds are you going to give me on this, huh? I'm trying to make some.
I'll give you 2-1.
2-1?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take it. I'm in.
All right, $10.
$10 is in. Book it.
All right, coming out of your East.
Out of the East Regional, I like Alabama as well, actually. This is the one where I'm in lockstep with little Jackie Papers over here.
Okay. Duke for me.
You're going Duke.
Duke coming out of the East.
Yeah.
Out of the Midwest, I'm assuming Houston, right?
No, I don't. I bet he's off Houston. Is this an all SEC Final Four? He won't do it because this guy, and I want this on the record for the listeners and the viewers, Riz, he hates Tennessee, and therefore I don't think he will pick Tennessee, so he doesn't have an SEC. That's what I'm betting Jackson's bets. That's how big of a degenerate I am. I'm betting on what Jackson's betting on.
This one I'm going to have a little fun. This one I like a little fun. I think it's the most underrated team in the tournament.
Are you going ILL?
No. Another orange team, though.
Oh, Clemson.
Clemson Tigers. They're the most well-rounded team in college basketball. Nobody talks about them. Have a little fun, Clemson. I don't think they're winning it.
So Clemson to beat Houston.
Yep. Clemson.
And then Clemson to beat Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because you think Tennessee's going to beat Illinois. You think Illinois is going to get past Kentucky, but lose to Tennessee.
Yes.
That's where you've been on that one.
Yep. I think, in that second round, that round of 32.
All right, coming out of your Midwest.
I have Houston. That was my first Final Four team and the one that I haven't given yet. And I'm going to do it, and I don't really care. I don't care. I have felt the same way about the 2019 St. Louis Blues as I feel about the 2025 Missouri Tigers. I'm taking Missouri. I understand it. You should be looking at me the way you're looking at me.
Well, the fact that we're broadcasting from St. Louis, that's a total homer pick.
It is, but I can't go against when I have these feelings. I can't do it. I know it sounds ridiculous, but when I have these feelings, I got to go with it. I'm looking at their road to get there, and I realize the one that would stand out is probably the most impossible would be Florida, but they went to Gainesville, and they beat that team. So I'm going with Missouri.
I think Drake beats them, actually.
Oh!
Okay, but all right, my Final Four piece.
Now Jackson's going to come across the table and start smacking. I just want to let you know what's going to happen.
Houston gets to my Final Four. So my Final Four is Michigan State, Florida, Duke, Houston. In the finals, I have Florida and Duke. Your final is?
Duke.
Well, that's the winner. Who's in your finals?
Oh, okay. Florida and Duke.
Florida and Duke?
Houston and Missouri.
Oh, I'm sorry. Florida, Alabama. I don't know.
Florida, yeah,
Florida, Alabama.
Duke,
Alabama, yeah. Florida, Alabama.
Florida, Alabama?
Yeah.
Houston and Missouri.
Okay, so it's Florida and Duke for me, and your champion is?
Florida.
Florida.
Missouri.
Get out of here.
Good for you, Tim. Thank you for being
Duke.
I can't help that when I have these feelings, they hit. But then here's the thing that I worry about when I vocalize them. Does that then eliminate the reality of the feeling? But this is how I felt in 2019 with the Blues. I don't know what else to say, and I haven't felt this way since 2019.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying your birthday wish out loud.
All right, Missouri odds to win plus 6,500.
That's exactly right. Jackson, throw 100 on that, and when they win that Monday night in San Antonio, somebody walks up to you with a brick of 65 $100 bills. How do you do, little Jackie Papers?
It would be just like me to say that betting any of the those teams that aren't the 5 I mentioned, and then saying, yeah, I like that for Missouri to go win.
But you would be happy to give me the $20 that we have just bet.
Yeah, my God.
Can you
It'd be
guys?
the easiest $20 I've ever spent.
Let's see how you guys do with this. The NCAA tournament winner odds. Can you give me the top 10?
Top 10 is going to
Top
put
10.
the man to the test.
NCAA tournament winners odds. This is Vegas. Give me the top 10.
I think Jackson might be able to do it, whereas I am more representative of the common man. I think you might be able
Jackson,
to do
go.
All right. Florida,
Is
Auburn.
What do you have Florida at? Number 1?
Yes.
No.
Ow.
Florida's number 2.
Duke's number 1 then.
Duke's number 1.
Okay.
Yeah, Florida. So Duke, Florida, Auburn,
Auburn's number 3.
Houston,
Houston's number 4.
Alabama,
Number 5.
St. John's,
No, they're number 9.
Michigan State,
They're number 8.
Alabama,
Alabama is.
You already
I
said,
said
already said that.
Tennessee.
Good for you,
Number
Riz. Don't
6.
fall for this nonsense.
Kentucky?
Kentucky is number 13.
Rats.
So I need 7, and I need.
He's going to start
10.
naming NIT teams now.
These are the NCAA tournament winners' odds.
Oh, man. Well, I got to look at the old 2 seed. So St. John's not there.
St. John's number 9.
Texas Tech?
That's number 7.
Oh, wow.
10. I need number 10.
Number 10. Number 10. Ooh.
At least you're handling the pressure well by not moaning.
Wisconsin?
Wisconsin's number 16.
Wow. Well, close. Iowa State?
Iowa State's number 12.
Jeez. So they're thinking for Texas A&M?
Texas A&M is number 20. Now you're really off. Are you thinking Arizona? Because they're
Caleb Love in
number
Arizona?
11. They're number 11.
Still
Still looking for number 10.
Still looking for number 10.
Illinois, number 14.
The Crab 5 at Maryland?
How about Gonzaga?
Really? At
No
10?
way.
At 10?
Are you kidding me?
As an 8 seed?
Gonzaga plus 3,600.
Man, I thought I was going to come here as a little sharp with that.
That is stunning information. Wow.
10. I wouldn't know.
Gonzaga is the 10th best odds
Yep.
as an 8 seed?
As an 8 seed to win the entire thing.
Wow. What do you think about that?
That's really surprising. I mean, Mark Few, I don't know if there's a coach, probably Izzo, but he'd be right there in terms of tournament experience. They play like a Gonzaga team. I just don't know if the talent is there. That's surprising.
It's
that just
not
means,
showing a lot of respect to my Final Four pick Houston and your Final Four pick Clemson.
right.
Got them beating Houston in the
Yeah.
second round and got them beating Clemson in the Sweet 16.
Clemson is 21st
Yeah. For a 5 seed.
at plus 10,000.
They're really well rounded. They're really, really
Well,
balanced.
we haven't mentioned the defending champions going for their 3rd consecutive NCAA tournament win. That would be Yukon.
Yeah.
Coming in as a number 8 seed. Now, only once in the NCAA tournament history, dating back to 1939, has a team won 3 straight titles, and that was UCLA
Yeah.
between 67 and 73, who won actually 7 straight titles. Yukon has covered 12 in a row in the tournament, going 6-0 against the spread in 23 and 24. Friday night, they take on number 9, Oklahoma. Yukon is giving 4.5.
I buy into UConn. I don't know if that makes me a square. I am not sold on Oklahoma. I will take the delightful Danny Hurley and his Huskies to advance to take on the Florida Gators.
Oklahoma has a guy named Jeremiah Fears. He's going to be a lottery pick in the NBA draft, and the Sooners are 8-2 when he scores 20 or more points. Oklahoma's biggest knock is they can't rebound. Good thing for them is that UConn can't really rebound much either. They're really bad defensively, and they foul a lot. Guess what? Oklahoma shoots 80% from the line. I like Oklahoma.
Boom.
Cover the points. Yeah.
Riz, where are you going on this? Do you have a feeling on the UConn Huskies? or
I'm
Oklahoma
taking
City?
Yukon.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Either way, if they are to move on and take on Florida, I think Todd Golden is going to steamroll them. And if you could place a prop bet that Dan Hurley gets ejected from that game, I would put
Riz, you don't happen to have that number out there.
I know.
I would allocate all of your money to Dan Hurley being tossed.
So you would say take the entire bankroll, find the odds on Dan Hurley being tossed against the Florida Gators, and just ship the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Yukon,
This guy's really
cover,
leveraging me.
Yukon to cover, and then Danny Hurley get thrown out
Yeah, you can
in round 2.
parlay that. Yeah,
Okay.
you're a rich man. I'm telling you.
I wonder if you could do that. I'm sure. I'm sure
You can make a suggestion to,
Yeah.
to a house.
But I don't think they're going to get past Porter Moser and the Sooners.
So it doesn't matter. We're not going to get a chance to leverage our entire net worths
So
on Danny Hurley getting tossed.
The-
Why is he getting tossed against the Gators?
the Gators play really physical, and he's going to have a problem with that because his team isn't good enough to beat them, and therefore he will whine and cry about it,
All right.
which is the Dan Hurley model. Great coach, don't get me wrong, but when things go poorly, he's not a strong soldier.
All right, fair enough. That gives me something to watch should those two teams meet. And I will see if I can get a bet on that Danny Hurley getting tossed.
At least a Tech, over under 1.5 on Tech.
Well, you just told me to bet my whole bankroll that he gets tossed. Now you can't.
To
hedge.
win
No
the
hedge.
Win the first round and then get tossed the second round.
That's right.
All right, fellas, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk 12 versus 5 upset picks and 13 versus 4 upset picks. Spread zone, stay there. All right, let's put the brackets up on the big screen.
Yeah, let's take a look at this tournament.
All right, so let's talk first round game spotlights. All right, upset alerts and Cinderella watch.
Yep.
Okay, so 12 versus 5 upset picks. Coming out of the East, you got number 5 Oregon against number 12 Liberty. Oregon's given 4.5.
I like Oregon. Dana Altman's a really good coach, and they struggle sometimes defensively, like that kind of hamstrings them, but I think they survive that one.
I'm on Oregon as well against the Flames of Liberty.
Okay. Me as well. All right, Midwest, number 5 Clemson given 7.5 versus number 12 McNeese State.
The trendiest 12-5 upset this tournament's going to be McNeese over Clemson.
I'm going to disagree with you right there on that, and I've got some numbers to back it up, but you are more than welcome to your opinion. Fine, sir.
I think we're on the same page. I think I know where you're going with that. Right. But yes, McNeese is going to be a trendy one at least. Avoid that trap. Clemson is outstanding, and I think they make it through the second weekend against Purdue. Obviously, I have my Final Four.
Yeah, I got Clemson as well.
Clemson as well. A lot of people talking about this one out of the South. Michigan, given 3.5 versus number 12, UC San Diego.
Yeah.
UC San Diego has rattled off 15 straight wins. Many would point to Michigan winning the Big Ten tournament. They certainly were not rewarded by getting a 5 seed. You could tell when they announced the brackets on Sunday, the team appeared to be rather stunned/disappointed when they found out that they were a 5 seed against this UC San Diego team. And Michigan's kind of been dancing with the devil to get the record they've gotten throughout the course of the year. I know it might be trendy, but I am going with UC San Diego.
I am as well.
UC San Diego is the best team in college basketball in covering the spread. It's 25-7 on the year. They shoot, they live and die by the 3. I don't know about that because Michigan wins a lot of tight games, so I actually like the over of 142.5 due to UC San Diego firing the 3 ball. I know it's kind of cheating, but yeah, I like the over in that game. I wouldn't touch the spread.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And out of the West.
This is the one, Riz. This is the one, Riz.
So we have number 5 Memphis getting 3.5 versus number 12 Colorado State.
So here is what I've got to do now. I've got a fiduciary responsibility to my family and all heirs and heiresses. I've got to unload the entire bankroll on Colorado State. And then I take that money that I win when they beat Memphis, because everybody's going to go 5 seed getting 3.5 points.
Memphis looked terrible.
And have had their issues.
Mm-hmm.
And then I take that money and then I bet it apparently on Danny Hurley to get ejected against Florida.
You buy a new house.
And now I think I have 10x'd my family's net worth.
Right.
What a big weekend I have in store.
You're going to be living large. I'm with Tim. Colorado State, nobody is playing better than them, or no one's hotter than them as of right now. Their downside is they turn the ball over a lot. Good thing for them, Memphis doesn't force turnovers. Neek Clifford, you remember that name? He's going to be a household name by next weekend.
Neek Clifford is a household name next weekend, and Danny Hurley's ejected.
He gets 25 points in his sleep.
Neek?
That's how it's pronounced.
Okay.
I think it's Nique.
Okay, that makes a difference.
Yeah.
All right, up next, you have your 13 versus 4 potential shockers. And I want you guys to tell me, are there any real possibilities here? Out of the East, number 4, Arizona versus number 13, Akron. Arizona giving 15.5. Jackson, what do you think?
They can put it up. On their best days, Arizona looks outstanding. I like that number. It's a big number. Don't be afraid of it, Arizona.
I'm on Arizona, too. I
Caleb Love.
The Midwest, number 4, Purdue, giving 10.5 against number 13's High Point.
High Point is one of those trendy bracket-busting picks for people right now. But the weird thing about High Point is I think it actually may be a bad matchup. Purdue may be a bad matchup for them. Purdue can shoot the 3. High Point struggles to defend the 3. And so I think of all the teams that High Point may not have wanted to face, Purdue would be one of those teams. And therefore, I think Purdue gets past them.
Yeah. Yep, I'm with you. I think if I was High Point, I would have much rather got Maryland. That's very deep. You can run them. I like Purdue as well.
All right, what about out of the South? Number 4, Texas A&M, 7.5 versus number 13, Yale.
Riz, one of the things I am watching this weekend is in 2011, the Big East set the record for the most bids in the NCAA tournament with 11. And then only one team got to the Elite Eight. Now, they wound up being the eventual national champions before they were coached by Danny Hurley, Yukon. But the Big East had all this attention. What I think is going to be a bit of a bellwether for the SEC and how it performs in this tournament is a game like Texas A&M and Yale. Texas A&M kind of flopped around in the second half of its conference schedule. Yale is a team that last year clipped off Auburn in the first round. This is one that I do have circled, not just because I think it could be a hell of a game, but also it could be indicative of how the SEC winds up playing in this tournament as a whole. I thought it was really eye-opening to see the Big East have the caliber of tournament that it did in 2011 when it had 11 teams in, SEC getting all this attention with 14 teams. This is one of the games on the first day of the tournament that I'm keeping an eye on. Yale and Texas A&M. I would not touch this one.
I would not touch this
I would
either.
not touch this one.
Nope.
Yeah, I like A&M. A lot of these Ivy League teams, I think they sometimes get some Power 5 schools because they kind of take a little bit off the gas. Texas A&M doesn't know how to take their foot off the gas. That's 40 minutes of hell. That's what Buzz Williams does. I like A&M.
2 years ago, Princeton
Yeah.
clipped
scorned me
Jackson and the
badly.
Missouri Tigers last
Badly.
year. Yale clips Bruce Pearl and the Auburn Tigers. And Jackson's dismissing these Ivy League teams' as reputation when all I do is present the evidence. This is fraudulent is what it is, Jackson.
I hear you. I just don't think the way Texas A&M plays, man, they play so damn hard. Buzz Williams gets them going, man. Wade Taylor is one of the best players in the tournament. I think there's a little bit different. I do respect where you're coming from, but I think A&M's just a little different. I think they're honestly, as a 4 seed, like pretty dangerous.
All right. And the West, number 4, Maryland, giving 11.5 versus number 13, Grand Canyon.
I buy into the Crab 5.
Crab 5, baby.
I do. I buy
Yeah.
into them.
I wanted to take them deeper into the tournament, but they are not deep. They play like 6 or 7 guys, really. But Derek Queen, their freshman, boy, is he fun to watch. Big dude, guard skills, handles it, finish at the rack. I love watching Maryland play. I was rooting real hard for him against Michigan in the Big Ten tournament. Yeah, I like all the 4 seeds to win and cover.
They're one of the teams I like to watch play as well.
Oh, they're great.
They're fun as a young team, hence the name Crab 5. But if there's one of those times when a Saturday rolls around and you go, oh my goodness, and you see a matchup and you go, how did this blew up my bracket? I think there is a very good chance that you see the 13 and 12 playing each other on Sunday afternoon in Grand Canyon and Colorado State. I like the Crab 5. I'm pulling for them to win, but I really like Colorado State to advance past Memphis. And you never know with a team that had to play into Sunday like Maryland did and losing the Big Ten Conference Championship game against Michigan.
All right. Well, last year, North Carolina State was the team that everyone's like, whoa, right?
Yeah.
Got into the Final Four, came in as a number 11 seed, ran through the South, got into the Final Four. Clemson was the only other team seated above the number 5 line to make it to at least the regional final. Who will this year's NC State be?
We've mentioned them. I think it's Colorado State. The similarities are very, it's a ton of similarities where you get red hot right before the tournament. You kind of steal a bid. That's what they stole a bid from Boise State. They're loaded. They don't have the one player like they did with NC State last year, but Colorado State is loaded and they're playing really well. I like Colorado State to be this year's NC State.
Next to my wife and my children and my parents, there's not a person in the world I love more than little Jackie Papers right here. But this guy is being exposed as one of the biggest frauds in the history of our country. He has picked Florida, but now he's got Colorado State. I mean, you can't pick every team in a tournament, Riz. You can't pick every team.
Well, not exactly like NC State where they make a run to the Final Four, but I would say
That was the man's question. I can play the tape back for you.
that's fair. That's fair. I just don't think that team exists this year.
You got Colorado State beating Memphis. Then you got Maryland beating
Grand Canyon. And then they run
then-
into the Gators.
No.
And that'll wrap
Well,
it up.
I'll wrap it up.
Colorado State against Maryland, they beat Maryland, and then they run into Florida,
Yeah, that's where my
and that's where the Cinderella story ends.
But here's the thing. Here's why, like I talk about, this year is so different. If there was one of these 1 seeds, you'd be like, oh, well, that's the clear best. They're all 4 1 seeds are in a different, like way different. Alabama kind of in there. All 4 of the 1 seeds have been so good this year that it's just a little bit different. If there was a different 1 seed for a different year, yeah, I might say something like Colorado State could make a little run. But I think you run into a team like Florida, a team like Auburn, a team like Duke, or a team like Houston. It's just different. It's different.
I agree. And there was a year relatively recently, I feel like, Jackson, we had 4 1 seeds and we thought that they were in another world. The one thing that I'm keeping an eye on here, and this brings up NC State from last year, Auburn has lost 3 of 4. Now, they played good teams, and one of the teams was A&M on the road. And then other than that, you also had the SEC tournament and Alabama at home. Last year, though, you had NC State kind of flopping around going into the ACC tournament. They were going to fire their coach, and then they go on the run through the ACC tournament, and then they go on the run through the NCAA tournament. I'm curious to see if you have teams with momentum right now that carry that over, or if you see teams that have kind of been flopping around, like Auburn, who that carries over and they run into problems with this tournament. Because logically, NC State last year had no business even being in the NCAA tournament in the first place outside of that run through the ACC tournament. And then to make the run that they did, there was nothing indicative of that through their play in late February and early March. And yet they were able to turn it around and make that run. If I am looking at a team that I think is like a long shot double digit that could possibly pull it off and really surprise people and get people talking, I would go with UC San Diego. They would have to clip Auburn, though. I mean, that is a really tall task unless somehow the 8-9 gets them in either Louisville or Creighton. But I don't know if this tournament is set up this year with the top-heavy talent that Jackson makes reference to have an NC State-like run. I just don't know if there's a team
because every
that
1 and 2
has
seed, they're monsters.
That's the thing, and I think it is a different spot. Even though I agree with you, Colorado State actually is this sneaker team, and they're not a blue blood name, so they may fly under the radar for people who are just casually filling out brackets.
Right. In the history of the KenPom, which is a big analytic they use, the net rating from KenPom, there was like 6 or 7 teams in the KenPom that were over 35 in the last 30 years. All 4 1 seeds are over 35 in the net rating for KenPom. It's just different. This year's just a little bit different. All 4 1 seeds are super dominant.
All right, so we'll just run through some games to watch real quick. Maybe not get too far in the weeds with these. Out of the South, 8 Louisville, given 1.5 to Creighton, number 9.
I really like Creighton in this game. Louisville has a big issue defending size, and Creighton has St. Louis and Ryan Kalkbrenner, who is awesome. I like the Blue Jays money line, and I like the under of 144.5. Louisville can guard the perimeter.
I think there are times where you see a spread, and I was making reference to Memphis and Colorado State, where people are going to see a 12 seed given 3.5 points and go, oh my goodness, I got to take Memphis. This would be the second spread I see in this tournament in the first round that stands out to me. Right now, if you're paying even casual attention, there is outrage about Louisville being an 8 seed. They should have been better seeded. And for them to only have 1.5 points on the line screams something is amiss. Go Creighton.
BYU, number 6 versus number 11, VCU out of the East. BYU given 3.5.
Jackson, is this the contrast in style special?
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be liking that BYU game. I'm fading it.
You're not touching it?
No, I'm not. It confuses me. BYU has confused me all year. I can't get a good read on them. I'm just fading the game altogether.
I'm going BYU.
Out of the Midwest, number 8 Gonzaga versus number 9 Georgia. Gonzaga given 4.5.
Love Gonzaga.
Is that right?
I love Gonzaga. I mean, they're not the Mark Few teams of years past, but the offense looks similar. Ryan Nemhard. Remember that name?
How many names do we have to remember? I mean, you got Neek, and now you got Ryan Nemhard.
I'll give you one more to shout out Georgia. If there's one player I would start an NIL fund by myself for Dennis Gates to go get, it's Asa Newell at Georgia. He's a freshman, and he is a dog, man. He's so good.
But you like Gonzaga?
I like Gonzaga.
But you like Gonzaga. I mean, next to Jackson picking half the field to win this tournament, the most surprising information I've gotten is Riz with Gonzaga is the 10th most likely team, according to the odds, to win the. I mean, that is startling.
Yeah.
That is startling.
I'll take Gonzaga that game.
So when I see that, I'm going Gonzaga.
Yeah. Number 7 Kansas versus number 10 Arkansas. Kansas 5.5 favorites.
This game is going to be this. I don't think this will be a very fun game to watch. Give me
you hate both teams.
Really do.
I got to expose the personal bias.
I really don't like either team. Just for the sake of seeing Calipari and Patino go up each other in round 32, I will take Arkansas.
I don't want to see either one of them go up each other, but it would be interesting to see them go heads up and coach. But I would tell you this Kansas team, I think people will be taking Kansas because they're Kansas and they see them as a 7 seed.
Name.
It's a brand name play, and this just isn't the Kansas that we are used to. I'm going to take Arkansas.
All right, now we go Mizzou, the number 6 seed out of the West, versus number 11 Drake. Mizzou,
The 2025 national champions.
6.5-point favorites. Tim has them going through the
whole thing. Now, here's the thing that I want to point out about this game that is alarming
Drake,
to
just so
me.
you know.
You are on Drake.
I'm on
You're on
Drake.
the record. I imagine my friend here, you're going
Missouri.
Fight Tiger.
Yeah.
But how about this, Riz? The over-under is 132.5 points. Missouri has played how many games this year, Jackson?
32 or 3.
Okay. Only 2 of their games have had a total that have been less than 132.5 points the entire season. Speaks to the contrast in styles we were talking about with BYU and with VCU.
Yeah.
The fact that Las Vegas has set this total at 132.5 is just like Gonzaga being at number 10 overall to win the tournament, really eye-opening. And I guess it speaks to they really think that Drake is going to be able to slow this thing down. With that established, I'm taking Missouri, and I'm laying the points.
Yeah, I feel the same way as Tim. Missouri can dictate this pace. Drake can play as slow as they'd like to and keep that score as low as they want on their end, but Missouri's going to run. I can promise you Missouri's going to be out there running and rotating guys in and out, showing their depth. I think Missouri covers that.
I will give you a name, Caleb Grill, returning home to Wichita to play at home in front of his family and friends. I think he's going off both against Drake and Texas Tech in the next round.
Yep.
All right, out of the East, number 7 St. Mary's, given 5.5 to number 10 Vanderbilt.
I'm a big fan of Vandy in this game.
I am as well.
Analytically, they don't stand out. What they have is intangibles. Every loose ball they get, long rebounds they get. Some about it. Vanderbilt plays so hard. That's a team that can upend a really structured system team like St. Mary's. I like the Commodores.
Riz, this is one where it falls into the category of they might not win, but I really like them to cover because I don't expect it to be a high-scoring affair. And so I will take Vanderbilt in the 5.5.
All right, one more game to watch. Out of the South, number 7 Marquette, given 3.5 to number 10 New Mexico.
Rick Pitino and his son, Jackson.
The year of the Patino.
It's the year of the Patino.
Marquette can't defend the rim, and New Mexico has a bunch of guys who can score near the basket. I like New Mexico.
I like New Mexico as well for that very reason.
Yeah.
All right, now, here are the bets that I love to hear, especially two guys that know a lot about basketball. I want your opinions about these number 1 versus number 16 teams.
Cup.
Because the spreads are so big.
Monster numbers.
Huge.
So we'll start with, out of the Midwest, Houston, the number 1 seed versus the number 16 seed, SIUE. Yesterday it was 27.5. I think it may be up to 28.5.
That is correct, sir. That is correct. That somebody saw something they liked in Houston and it moved it a point.
So number 1 Houston giving 28.5 points to SIUE Edwardsville.
The thing when you're talking about nearly 30 points in a game for one of these number 1 seeds where it's basically a foregone conclusion that they're advancing and getting ready for either Georgia or Gonzaga in the case of Houston, is let's get our guys off the floor. Let's stay healthy. Let's maintain rest. You're not putting on any cosmetic points in these things.
Right.
So they can get up by 35 or 40. What you got to worry about is can they hold on to that lead if you do bet one of these monster numbers. Of all of the teams, that would not be the one that I would go with. That would not be the one. If I had to take one of these 1 seeds.
28.5 is Florida,
Norfolk State.
Florida, Norfolk State.
Well,
Yeah.
It's 28.5 too.
I wouldn't recommend betting these spreads. If I were to, I had to bet one, I actually would do SIUE to cover. Rayshon Taylor is a senior who's been waiting for his opportunity
I'm
to
just
show
looking
off.
at these numbers, and they're so. I'm licking my chops.
Yeah, it's not a fun bet. It's not like it's down the stretch. You're praying that the team that's a huge underdog is just going to load it up and you're not shooting free throws. It's not very fun, but if I had to, I'd be the Cougars of SIU.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a fun bet.
No.
Sometimes in college football, these blood donor programs will go in and play like Alabama or Auburn the week before the Iron Bowl, and you're like, okay, they just want to get the win and then keep guys healthy for the next week. That's how I look at these as well. But all you're doing is going, okay, the spread's 43.5, and I'm getting, they're up 42-0. I just need them to run out the clock. That's not an enjoyable way to try to experience profit.
No, it is not. It is not fun at all. But if I had to, yeah, I think so. The 215 seeds, there might be something there.
All right, well, you got St. John's giving 17.5 to Omaha.
Yeah, St. John's. Watch St. John's and how they defend. They are a terrible shooting team. Like, they can't shoot, but they're as good as they are. That shows you how good they are at everything else.
Tennessee giving 19.5 to number 15 Wolford.
That's the one that I have circled, and the reason is Tennessee offensively, little rough. Defensively, they smother you. They are the number one in adjusted defensive efficiency. And so I would imagine this is a team that's going to get up pretty comfortably. Wofford's not going to be scoring a whole lot of points, but I don't know that Tennessee is going to be able to win by 20 or even care to win by 20. So if there's one in the 215, that's the one that I had circled. I was really curious about that number. I would love to see it go up before tip-off.
Yeah, I liked Michigan's Bryant to cover Michigan State's 18.5 point number, just because Michigan State, similarly to St. John's, can't really shoot all that well.
So Bryant,
and they shoot.
This guy loves Bryant.
They shoot
18.5.
Yeah, I like Bryant to cover that, just because Michigan State, like, if they started knocking down threes, then maybe but they just don't shoot threes that much, and so to run away with it, they kind of grind it out a little bit more. They're fun to watch. I really like watching Michigan State, and I think obviously they're going to win, but cover that big number if I had to. I don't love these bets.
All right, I do want to talk about trap games for some of these higher seeds.
Yep.
What favorite could blow up brackets? Who should we stay away from?
Kentucky.
I was about to say, it sucks that you said that, because that's the one, and part of that is health related. They're also a team. Illinois is not as high a seed as Kentucky. They could be on a collision course to meet each other. There are some teams in the tournament, and my national champion would fall into the category of one of them, that can play out of this world and can play with anybody. We've seen that from Kentucky. We've seen that from Missouri. Made reference to them winning in Gainesville. They also beat Alabama in Columbia. They beat the number one Kansas team. As it turns out, that really wasn't a number one caliber team. They have a wide delta. Kentucky has that, in addition to they have some health problems.
Big time.
And so that would be the one and I also think anytime you have a brand name, more people tend to take those brand names. Kentucky, Duke, people will just be taking Kentucky blindly, and that could be one that could blow people up.
Yeah, Kentucky's had some disappointing runs in the tournament in the last couple of years. That was obviously with John Calipari. Maybe people think, oh, Mark Pope, it might be different. If Lamont Butler's not out there for Kentucky, yeah, I don't see them going past the first weekend.
Okay. All right. Rapid fire. The one team to avoid betting on. The one team to avoid betting on. The most overrated high seed. Jackson, the most overrated high seed.
Don't you take my answer again.
The most overrated high seed is probably Iowa State.
This guy's a problem.
That was yours as well?
Yes.
Probably Iowa State.
I believe you, Tim.
I didn't want to say Kentucky because we just talked about Kentucky, because Kentucky is my true. That's the one I feel like I'm fading.
Stay away.
Yeah, for sure. If I had to have one after that, it'd be Iowa State. They confuse me. They're up and down all year.
They're also missing their best player.
Right.
I mean, that's the main reason. Yeah. Keyshawn Gilbert is out for Iowa State, and he's their star. So that's one. Now, I have to be crystal clear on this. I know you have watched a lot of Lipscomb tape.
No, that's what I've missed out on this year.
So I'm not speaking with any expertise on Lipscomb, but I am saying that Iowa State as a 3 is probably overseeded, considering their top player is not going to.
Yeah, agreed. Iowa State's that team.
So Iowa State.
Yeah, and Kentucky.
And Kentucky.
Yeah,
jeez.
I get to answer first next.
All right, it's a spread zone. I'm Riz, Tim McKernan, Action Jackson. We'll take a break. After the break, first round big dogs or big favorites, any 1-2 seeds that might struggle to cover huge spreads. Stay there. Spread zone.
Like calling shotgun in a car.
Favorite bet of the first round. I want your lock.
I love Missouri over 132.5 points. Missouri Drake over 132.5 points. Now, I will not be betting it because I want Missouri to win.
Want your lock.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it?
There's just
Who's Tim putting his money on?
I'm taking the over on Missouri Drake 132.5.
Okay.
I have no idea how that game does not go over that. I just don't know how Missouri isn't going to score a minimum of 80 points. It strikes me as, considering the size differential there. And I just think that I love that bet. I love that bet. But at the same time, I have to say it's so odd numerically that it gives me pause.
Yeah. My favorite.
Your lock.
My lock is actually, it's a parlay. It's a parlay lock.
Dear goodness.
Yeah, that's right. Parlay lock. People know that Louisville is misseeded. They should be way lower than 8 seed. They're going to be taking that against Creighton. Blue Jays money line and that under of 144.5. Louisville guards the hell out of the perimeter, but they can't stop guys inside. It's a lot of 2-pointers. The under in that, and I feel very confident about Creighton covering the money line.
So we're parlaying the game.
Oh yeah,
we're going
same game.
Creighton and the under on Creighton Louisville.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Any more things for round number one before people lock in their bets?
I think the Iowa State thing is something to keep a close eye on as far as a seed that could get blown up. And if you're just going through and then the next matchup is Ole Miss and then that North Carolina situation that's gotten so much attention for them being in the tournament, that could be a portion of people's NCAA tournament bracket pool that all hell breaks loose in that section, along with the Colorado State Grand Canyon situation. You could be looking at the left side of your bracket up on your refrigerator going, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah. I would say don't fall in love with the brand names, man. Like,
I think that's good caution this year.
Don't fall in. That number next to their name is more indicative of the team itself. Like when you talk about Kansas, like they're not good. Yukon, they're not good this year. Like, yes, their coaches are great. They've had a lot of success, but it's year by year, especially with how robust the transfer portal is. Yeah, there's some guys out there who play for some lesser-known teams that can really play and want their opportunity to show it on a national spotlight. Avoid brand names. Don't fall in love with them. UCLA is another example of that too. Mick Cronin.
Jackson doesn't like that Mick Cronin.
If Mick Cronin and Dan Hurley played, it was Yukon, UCLA or something, I would be in a really
You would not watch the game?
Yeah, I might, as a protest. I'd be in a really tough spot. I really dislike both those coaches.
All right, fellas, I think we're all fully prepared.
Yeah, we've been locked in here, and I'm going to have to, I guess I got to go parlay now. Louisville, Creighton under, and Creighton money line.
And then Dan Hurley getting tossed.
Getting tossed.
Yeah.
All
All right, so that's it for the panel. That's it for us. Good luck round one. I guess we'll see you at the start of the Sweet 16
That's right.
on the Spread Zone.
We provide information about sports betting for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm gambling regulations in your state of residence. To participate in sports gaming, you must be 21 years of age or older and be physically present in a state where sports betting is legal. If you or someone you know has a sports betting or gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org for more information and further assistance.